Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play BS The Legend of Zelda Ancient Stone Tablets. In the last part, we started off week 2, and now we're gonna go into Dungeon 4 and finish off the rest of the week after that, because honestly, Dungeon 4 is one of the shorter ones. Mind you, with the exception of maybe Dungeons 7 and 8, a lot of the dungeons in this game are really short. Yet again, because they're meant to be completable within an hour, and you're supposed to do 2 a week roughly, so yeah. Also, that's a thing I didn't know about in the original Link to the Past. The bomb explosion sprite counts as a hitbox as long as the explosion is going on. You can use it to your advantage in order to hit that switch to switch around the pegs. And you do need to switch the pegs because first off, it allows you to get this chest up here and also one just to the south of us. Money's really common in this game, by the way. Now, Dungeon 4, I actually do believe it is one of the more annoying out of the first 6 or so. Purely because you have to deal with a lot of conveyor belts, and it's also, I believe, at this point, the largest we've seen at 3 floors, even though some of the floors aren't that big. You also end up having to loop around a lot, because the boss room is actually the top of the first floor here, or rather the farthest north. But basically, if you know Zelda games, if the boss door is basically right next to the entrance, we have a labyrinth on our hands. And it's not a bad labyrinth, but it can get annoying. Thankfully, now we have the level 2 sword, so enemies will now go down twice as quickly. Though, for the most part, it doesn't really matter, the sword upgrades. They help, don't get me wrong, but you won't notice much of a difference in the long run because the enemies do scale in health. Whoa, Fire Snake. That's probably always been the most out-of-place enemy in all of Zelda A Link to the Past for me, that random Fire Snake. I know it's a traditional enemy, it's been around since Zelda 1, but this is like one of the only other times it's appeared, and it always seemed out of place in this game. Either way, we want to push this statue onto the switch, a la, I think, the first dungeon in the Dark World in A Link to the Past. Because now we can access up here to get what are actually 2 treasure chests. Let's see what we got. We got the large shield. We now have nothing to fear from fireballs. At least we think so. So now we have a slightly larger shield. And we also get the compass, so that's cool. Now, one thing that I actually don't like this floor for is because in my first playthrough, which, for background's sake, I've actually played this game about 4 or 5 times at this point, I got fooled by the map, which is why you see me checking in the wall even now, because I could swear there's supposed to be something over there, even though there's not. Basically, in my first playthrough, I found the map, I took a look, and there was an entire row of unfilled rooms. Even though I was in that room the entire time because I was just being an idiot while looking at the map. Basically, I thought there was a room to my right when I was already in the farthest right room of the map. And I still checked that wall every single time because I could swear there's supposed to be something there even though there's not. At this point, though, it's more so a joke with myself. We all have those moments in games where we do something stupid that we still do every playthrough. My big one is probably, Majora's Mask Great Bay Temple. As much as I love that dungeon, it's my favorite dungeon in the game, there's still one section where I'm like, do I use the Song of Soaring to go back to the entrance now, or... Yeah, I always kind of get confused at that part. Thankfully, I think I'm at the point where I have it much better memorization, but yeah. Though, at least I'm still not as bad as the Prime... I think it was the... Was it Brady Games or Prima Games guide for Majora's Mask that told you to use the Song of Time at that point, which is wholly wrong. Also, I'm actually doing something a bit out of order here. I'm not supposed to come to this room until just a bit later because in the previous room, there was a door to the south. However, I forgot it was there because I wasn't looking at the map, and the one problem with the way that this game handles the voice acting there on the bottom is that it covers up the bottom section of the screen where a door would have shown up. So I temporarily missed out on it, but I am able to get the upgrade thief for this dungeon a bit early, so now I have up to 50 arrows. But that's just more so an accidental fault on the game. There was no real way around it. They wanted to keep the semi-voice acting in. Oh well. Forgive and forget. That's another reason I probably don't like this dungeon as much as others, is because that one error right there, really, I'm almost always here at a point where someone's talking on the bottom. So I'm almost always missing that door the first round through, so that's probably just a bit of bitterness on my side. But at least here we get the big key, so now we can actually grab the dungeon chest, which we actually saw a bit earlier. Because when we fell down the hole a bit earlier in order to get to the bottom floor, we passed it. It's straight up north from us. And what do we get in this dungeon? But the hook shot. It extends and contracts, and boing, it can grapple many things. So now we basically have our way to get along larger pits and still get stuff at the end of them. You're actually going to be using this in large amount. I'm not going to lie. So get used to having it on you. I always did like the hookshot in terms of concept, though, because it's just one of the more useful and badass tools, because it's basically just a grappling hook that you can shoot out at the speed of a bullet, at least in the 3D games. 2D, they couldn't really quite animate that as well, so they kind of just have it go wing, 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 wing. This room annoys me, though. Because, first off, I've never liked the jellyfish enemies from A Link to the Past. I've always found them annoying because even though I know the hook shot one-shots them without you getting electrified, I always still use the swords because the hook shot can be a bit hard to hit them with. Because you can be on an equal altitude with them on the screen, but you'll still miss due to it being like 1 pixel above it. And I don't like that. Not at all. Either way, we got the big key and everything else. Now it's time for us to finally go north of the entrance and actually head towards our goal. Also, I do believe that the... Well, first off, this room is a bit of a hook shot puzzle. You're supposed to find your way around without heading into the pit. I believe at this point, Agina and the Seer on the bottom are actually discussing the previous boss we just fought, which is something I believe they started doing in this week, because I don't recall it happening much in week 1. They'll actually talk about the bosses and strategies to give you for them if you hadn't played the original Link to the Past beforehand, for example's sake. Like, they gave us the Helmarok King or whatever as an example, and later on they'll give this guy's example. It's Arrgusnt again. Same strategy in Link to the Past. Hookshot the clouds off of him and slash them away as fast as you can. And then just continue doing this until he's bare bones of them. I actually think that this fight's a bit easier than his version of Link to the Past, just because I think you can have more total health by this point than you can by the original point of Link to the Past. I think is a keyword, because it's been a while since I played A Link to the Past. Actually, has it? Actually, yeah, it's been since I finished the Let's Play, which was about a year ago at this point, I believe. At least for me. For you guys, it's probably been a bit later than that. Either way, after you get rid of the clouds, Arrgusnt is really easy because he'll just jump around and try to hit you, and 2 spin attacks finishes him off. The splash from his falling down, though, can hurt you, so watch out for that. And with that, that's the dungeons for week 2 finished. And honestly, there's not much left to week 2. Week 2 is actually one of the more light in terms of content weeks. We got a strange stone tablet. Does this stone tablet have any significance? So with that, let's start doing the side stuff. Starting off, let's head back to Kakariko, and at the 28th minute, this guy shows up. Like in A Link to the Past, you can buy a bottle from this guy for 100 rupees. Very worth doing, because bottles are awesome, though honestly, I don't use fairies too much in this game. Next up, we want to head south back towards the rental shop area. Because on the screen where the old get to the end of the maze in 12 seconds thing in the original game was, there is now a fortune teller's house, which you can use if you want any more hints, and a cave we can bomb open. I actually could have gotten the item in there before, because you only need the hammer. You don't need the hookshot like I thought you did, which is why I held off on doing it till now. But we want to get it because we're going I almost said for 1,000%. Wow, what would 1,000% in a game even be? Is that like 10 complete playthroughs or something? I don't know. Though it does remind me of some of the Donkey Kong Country games and some of the Castlevania games, especially, actually. Like, what is it? 206.5%, I think, for Symphony of the Night? Either way, there's a piece of heart in here. Number 7 for the week. So if you're following along, that means the only one we don't have for this week is the rental shop one. So let's head over back to the right to get to the rental shop and get that whole thing started. After that, there's actually not much left in this week. In fact, like I said earlier, I think week 2 is probably the lightest on content out of the 4. Also, since I now have the level 2 sword, the level 3 sword is now available here. Let's take a look at where that treasure is on our map. And it is just next to the smith's house. Let's head on over there and dig around. And there it is, first try. And that's all 8 heart pieces. So now all there really is for me to do is screw around and show off some of the other stuff that's going on in this week. First up, similarly to A Link to the Past, in the basement of the turf-roofed house, there are some treasures we can get. There's no piece of heart down there like there was in the original game, but there are a lot of rupees and even some refills, so I just wanted to get this. Though this is also, I believe, one of the places where the mole can appear this week. So look out for him when you can. I do like that they tried to keep some of the stuff from the original Link to the Past in, just to keep fans pleased as well. Because a sense of familiarity can actually, I think, increase emotional feelings about a certain thing, or at least some sort of sentimental feeling. That's one of the reasons I think that, despite its overall faults, that I think it had, Force Awakens was a really damn good Star Wars movie. Because they wanted to, the creators wanted to prove they could do Star Wars as it was originally before moving on to their own stuff with the series. And next up at 45, the minigame that I showed off earlier and starts up. This is probably my favorite minigame out of the 4. Basically, you get red bombs that explode after a while, and you need to throw them into the urn to gain increasing amounts of rupees. I think it's 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, and 300. This is the best minigame to get money out of the 4 in my eyes, because, first off, that's not how much money you're getting in total from each of the bombs. It stacks up, so you're getting 8 plus 16 plus 32 plus 64, so on and so forth. And you get 5 bombs, so you can get a good amount of money out of that. I'm going to be doing that a lot off-screen just so I can get it done and get some extra money. I think I stop around 6,000 rupees. And next up, let me restart the sentence. Next up, towards where Dungeon 3 was, this week's mole shows up. Molly ho, holy moly ho, you're in luck you found me. I'll tell you where to find some great treasure. Listen carefully. Go near the blacksmith shop to find something good. Hurry! Nothing really else I can say about that. He tells us exactly where to go for that one. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. This mole can appear either the turf-roofed house right here, southwest of Kakariko, south of Kakariko, or in the house southwest of Kakariko, I believe. I usually find him around here, though, and he shows up at the 47th minute. And you're going to need to have, if you want to get every rupee in here, you're going to need to have at least gotten the hook shot from Dungeon 4. But since I already cleared all the dungeons, this is basically just the last thing I really need to do. And I should mention, the mole actually has another purpose besides just rupees. It also increases your score. For every mole you get talked to, you get 10,000. The scoring system actually is a lot more in-depth than I've talked about before. But I'll get more into that probably next part, because I don't exactly have the time, because, you know, cutscenes are a thing in this game. Out of the way. How you doing, Agina?
Ah, welcome back. Are you injured? You've gathered all the items that should be collected from today. You can take it easy for now.
By the way, one thing I should mention, if you head into the room to the right, Sahas Ralha's wife will actually heal you. I think there's one of these in almost every single near starting area of the game, so if you want to heal up, just go to that. But now let's just dash around the town, because honestly, I have less than 40 seconds left at this point, I believe. You know, though, I'm impressed. Despite the overall fairly short length of time you have in each week, you actually don't really have to rush. You can more or less take things at an ample pace, and you'll more than likely complete everything. Obviously, don't, like, lollygag too much, but yeah.
Princess, it seems the youth has gotten 2 more stone tablets, but no further clues can be found around the house of my elder brother. Sahas Rala, the elder.
Is that so? Ah, Agina. The House of Link the Hero is south of the castle. I saw Link with the Bukumudora there. If we consult it, we can consult the mystery of that writing.
The House of Link the Hero, is it?
It's dangerous to go alone. Take this! Come on, you wrote that one for me, Nintendo. Well, fan translators, technically.
The youth will go with me.
That's right. I'm counting on you.
Ah, this is the House of Link, the hero.
And that's where the cutscene ends, by the way. It's going to go over to the witch again and tell us to migrate our SRNAM file. Same method for getting into week 3 than it was for week 2, and so on and so forth, by the way. And that's week 2. I honestly think it's even easier than week 1 because if you're going for 100%, your arsenal is growing at such a rapid rate that this week goes by really quickly. Because nothing really stands in your way in such a solid wall challenge kind of thing, you know what I mean? Easy, but still fun, and it has my favorite minigame out of the 4 for getting money. Overall, solid week, I'd say. Especially in terms of playing, I only got hit about 29 times. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 5, we're heading into week 3. See you guys then.